Hello, this is Marie-Lonette from FDJ-Suez team, and you are listening to the Will Talk podcast, live from the Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift stage 1 from Vannes to Plumeley.
Welcome back to the Wheel Talk podcast. I'm your host for the day, Loren Rowney, and I am joined in a wonderful setting with two of my favourite colleagues at this Tour de France Femmes. It's rolling on to about, I can't even see on my watch because now it's gone on to that night mode. It's about 10:30 in the evening and we've had a long day. Georgie Howe, how are you feeling?
Excuse me while I munch down on my potato royale. From McDonald's finest. It's actually very good. It's kind of like a potato wedge.
And actually, it looks like Matt de Neef's meal is just arrived. What did you order today, Matt?
I couldn't even tell you. I just punched something into the screen at the front of the store and I'll just eat it. I'm just happy to eat anything at this point. It's been a long day.
I think that's a good opportunity to set the scene a little bit. So, like I said, it's about 10:30 in the evening. We're just chowing down some food. It's been a really long day, a really good day. But because of the late start for the super short stage, it was just hectic. I think the race was hectic. The day has been hectic. And we're just gathering our thoughts now. Sitting in a McDonald's, I know, don't judge, please. This is it. It is day one.
Yeah, but I feel like that's wholly ironic. You're wearing a QOM jersey in the McDonald's.
I think we'll get into that maybe a little bit in the after dark part of the podcast. So if you are a subscriber, we'll dive into that, what Georgie is alluding to. Yeah. But it was a hectic day, and thanks for the lovely intro from the French national champion, Marie-Lonette. We're going to talk a little bit about FDJ as we get into this podcast. But yeah, guys, how was your day out there? I mean, like I said, it was a late start today. I mean, we were on the ground pretty early, actually. We arrived at the start area around midday, but kickoff wasn't until 5:30.
Yeah, it was a very, very long day. I mean, as a rider, you always hated these late starts. But actually, as a journo now on the other side, I think we took advantage of it in a really nice way. And it was cool to see all the buses roll in, all the fans come in. When we arrived, there was no one there. I think we were the first car parked. So we're able to, the priority was to get the good baguettes from the boulangerie. That was the number one priority. So those baguettes were secured. And yeah, then we were able to, Matt and I, we just sat down and wrote some pieces in the cafe outside, al fresco style, and watched everyone roll in and the fans start to congregate. It was a really lovely vibe.
We had that cool experience at the tour as well where we got to drive on the course today. So we set off from the start in Vannes and went straight onto the course and drove on it for a little bit through the neutral zone and then got back on it towards the end. And I think we were all just blown away by how many people were out there today, just from the very start, right at the start of the stage. But then getting onto the course right near the end, we got to drive part of the finishing circuit around Plumeley, and just the amount of people on that climb was incredible. And Loren, you were out there for a good chunk of the day, weren't you?
Yeah, I was. When we parked up at the finish there, I went down to the finish area because as we drove up, I mean, the fans were already out there. I know it was a short stage, but really was blown away. I know that, France is a cycling country. Bretagne is a cycling part of France, but it really felt like the men's Tour de France. And I've been to a few stages of the men's Tour de France, and I think for the riders, they all felt the same thing. And we're going to hear from Brodie Chapman in a moment. This was her first Tour de France Femmes, and so she touched on what that felt like to be riding through those crowds. So let's hear from Brodie.
Well, I've survived stage 1 of the Tour de France Femmes, and crossing the finish line felt like a success. Today was a long day because we started so late. And yeah, as predicted, it was pretty chaotic at the start. There was a crash before we even reached kilometre 0. So there's that. yeah, and then actually it wasn't as attacky as I thought. It was just fast all day. And a few select teams kind of rode at the front and blocked the road, and then it was borderline impossible to move up. I honestly tried my darn near hardest. But thankfully, one of the teams at the front blocking the road was my own team, just that I wasn't there. But Lara Gillespie, I actually should ask her how I say her name. Chapeau, she was really just like hogging the left gutter all the way until the circuit. So the team was actually really safe and avoided a few more crashes. I was kind of just battling in the middle. I felt like I was around the same riders all day because we were all in that position where we were trying to move up all the time. But then honestly, you kind of break behind someone and you lose 10 wheels, and then it was just a whole bunch of sprints, which is definitely not my strength. But thankfully, once it opened up on the laps, I was able to get to the front and help the team. We were aiming to go for the final with Caroline. And yeah, we kind of lost each other. The few Ks to go, unfortunately, but we did try to make it a bit aggressive. Domi was up the road a bit. And I somehow ended up in a very, very, very short-lived move. But then, yeah, it didn't go to plan for us today. So we're just pretty happy to have survived, to be honest. And it was really, really cool to soak up all the crowds because it was like deafening. And it was just amazing that from the start to the finish, everywhere on the road, there was people supporting us. So the hype is real. And luckily, we have 8 more stages to try again. And I mean, Marianne Vos, wow, fully, absolutely 100% the GOAT. Visma was riding so incredibly, and it was kind of like, this is Vos. And yeah, 1 and 3, yellow jersey. Visma should be super happy. And yeah, masterclass right there. So that's what you get when you go all in for one person. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, the vibe on that final climb was immense, and I caught up with Emma Norsgaard and Loretta Hansen at the finish line, and Loretta called up yesterday morning at 8:30 a.m. from her friend's wedding in Ireland to be at the Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift on the start line to replace Amanda Spratt. She's here. She is so grateful to be here despite the short turnaround, and that was one of the things that she spoke about when I spoke to her, was like the people on the side of the road, but also the diversity of the people that she saw, with like children, older people, younger people, men, women, and everyone's just there to celebrate these really strong women, these really strong athletes, and incredible what they're doing. Like there were cheers from Vos winning the stage all the way down to Gruppetto coming in at 90, 96, 98, 99.
Yeah, and Matt, I think you came across the fan club of one of the famous riders from around here.
Yeah, that's right. I'm just trying to remember her name, which is terrible, but she's actually one of the, I guess you'd say, smaller name riders from the Arkea team. She's just from the local area here in Brittany, from Quimper, I think, the town where we finish in tomorrow. And yeah, at the start today, there was a big group of them gathered with their own T-shirts with Tisha Rio, her name is, gathered with T-shirts with her face and name on the back, and then they were singing chants to her at the start, and she came out of the bus when they arrived and gave a big hug to all her friends and family that were there. Just a really nice, wholesome moment, you know. It's a reminder that riders, each rider comes from somewhere, right? They've got their story, the club they've come up with, the people they've come up with, and when they then get to see their rider racing the Tour de France, I think that's a pretty special moment for everybody involved, and it was cool to witness that. Yeah,
I walked past the bus on the way to see you guys, and it was, I think that the Arkea bus had the biggest crowd today walking past it, so it was quite incredible. But I think that's an amazing thing about the Tour de France and any of the Grand Tours. You see it at TDU as well. They really celebrate the hometown heroes, and I think that's part of why cycling's great, is that it's a sport that is not geographically confined to a certain area or a certain stadium or a certain track. Like, it is something that moves around, and you do get to pay homage to various different parts of the world, and you get to celebrate the people from there in the sport. So I think that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I got to have a little chat with Kate Verino. I always say that she's the brains behind this whole event. Like without Kate, we would not have the Tour de France avec Zwift, and without Zwift, of course. But, this is the 4th edition, and I was standing there near the finish area with Kate, and we're just standing there silently, and then I was looking around, and I just couldn't believe the amount of people, but also within the VIP area there, it's the most stacked it's ever been. Talking to some of the team managers around the buses, I mean, they're bringing people over from all over Europe, all over the world to come to this race now, and that just shows like 100 guests to come to watch the women race, the Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift, and the growth of it. And I think this is something we will talk about throughout the week probably, but just it's like transcended, I don't know, women's cycling, this event for me. And I feel it's such an important event. We won't get into this too much today, but I just thought it was just a really special moment, because for the past few years it's just continued to grow, and I think it will.
Yeah, it will continue to grow, and I think it was great to see Kate on the start line, and she was there to wave the riders off, and what ended up being a stage that no one expected the result of. It was flagged one for the sprinters. Us others flagged it as a GC day. I spoke to some DSs who called it a soft stage, which they were in the minority in that description. But yeah, I think talking about the stage now, it's I think we can get into that and kind of unpick what happened, because I don't think many people know what to think, really.
To be fair, last night when I looked at Matt and I said, I know who Matt's going to pick, and his heart pick was Vos, but his head pick was Kopecky. But I think he was on to something there with Vos, and we're going to talk about Project Yellow. And if you haven't read it yet, Georgie Howe, she just wrote a fantastic piece about, well, 2 pieces now, one about Pauline and what happened today in the race, and what Visma did. And you're going to hear as well, you listen to Brodie Chapman, she spoke about just how incredibly well that team raced today. And it almost felt like when I was watching that final kilometre that it was Rabobank of 2014 with Vos and Pauline, where they absolutely, I think it was 2014 or 2013 when they dominated the Giro. It gives me goosebumps thinking about it, that we're now over a decade later. And do
we want to talk a bit about how it actually unfolded? I think the last kilometre's worth running through.
Yeah, the last kilometre was hectic. As Matt said before, we drove the course, so we actually got to drive the last probably 10, 15 kilometres of the race. And really all day, Visma were present at the front. We spoke to, again, Emma Norsgaard and Loretta Hansen, and Emma said if you were anything less than top 10 wheels in the whole day of this race, you were in that washing machine and you were going to get spat out. So Visma, to mitigate that risk with their 2 leaders of Vos and Ferran Prevot, they made sure that they were at the front, and they were doing it so effectively and efficiently. Heading into that really sharp bridge where we saw the unfortunate crash happen in the race earlier that day, Eva van Aert led them through that corner, and Vos was extremely complimentary of her in the post-race press conference. She did a phenomenal job making sure that Ferran Prevot and Vos were positioned perfectly at 1.7 Ks to go at the foot of that climb. And then it was Lidl Trek who kind of took over the reins, and with the intent on getting Balsamo up for the stage. And the expressions on these riders as they were going up this climb was palpable. Like there was, I think I said to you guys in the car, Lucinda Brand was frothing at the mouth. You said, Loren, that Demi had that like intense grimace breathing technique going on. Like there was no rider who was comfortable except for one. She was nose breathing, and it was Pauline Ferran Prevot. I saw that coming up the climb, and she was, just behind Brand as Brand was doing her final pull. Balsamo was on Ferran Prevot's wheel, and it was terrifying. The difference between Brand's expression and Pauline's and the body language, I think any DS is going to look at that and be absolutely terrified.
Yeah, Georgie, you wrote a great piece yesterday about, was it today? I can't even remember. What is time even? About Pauline and where she's been for the last however long. We're going to talk more about that later, but the question you raised was like, how is she going to come out of that training? She hasn't done any racing, and would she have that that pop in her legs or that ability to compete when the going gets really tough? And boy, the way she just rode everyone off her wheel today on that climb was exceptional, truly exceptional. I thought she was going to win the stage. She got very close to doing so, but that was quite something seeing her stomp away there.
It wasn't quite a stomp though, Matt. It was a sail. It was the most graceful putting to the sword of the rest of the peloton I've ever seen. She literally, it was like she just went to another level, and it was the most graceful. Yeah, she just floated away from the peloton, and Balsamo could do nothing except watch that wheel float away in front of her. And everyone was like bit shocked, and I was actually certain she was going to win that stage. She attacked on the point in the course where it kicked up to about 9% with about 800 meters to go, and she had a decent gap with about 500 meters to go, and I thought she was going to do it, but it wasn't until Kim Lacourt of AG Insurance Soudal took up the chase with Marianne Vos on her wheel that we saw what was going to unfold. And it's an age-old trick. Back when I was on Live Lula Jaco, we actually did this when Alex Manley won a stage at TDU in 2023 with Ruby. Ruby attacked, and Alex was just sat pretty and waited for others to chase, and then Alex won the stage. Vos did the similar thing today. She just sat. I don't think she was sitting pretty. I think she was in a lot of pain, but she then latched onto Kim Lacourt's wheel, and Kim dragged her up to close to Ferran Prevot, and Vos ran her own teammate's wheel, and it looked like Pauline saw Vos come around and sat up. Her DS actually also alluded to that in a post-race interview. Vos then won the stage with Pauline taking third and Kim Lacourt taking second. It was phenomenal. I don't think anyone expected that.
Not in the way that it maybe unfolded. So Vos winning, I think you can never discount Vos, and I think everyone has said that leading into this race. She is Marianne Vos. We know what she can do in these big races. Visma knows that. They've come in here with clear intentions. It was all in for Vos today. Pauline had the freedom, as Vos said in the post-race interviews, that in that last 500 meters, and it was, I think, around 700 meters, she got out of the saddle, just like she does in mountain biking. Anyone who watches mountain biking, cross-country racing, she does the same thing there when she does the attack. It's almost like it's not even an attack. It's just she gets out of the saddle and puts it in another gear that doesn't exist for other riders. And then she, like you said, she sailed away. So yeah, perfect situation for Visma here. It was Anna van der Breggen, in fact, that shut that gap initially, which I thought was super impressive. And we were talking about it in the car, that it's that experience that in that moment she knew she had to go, because Anna is here with Lotte's current situation, which we'll get into as well, as their GC hopeful now, I think. And talking about the stage and it being, is it a stage hunting day? Is it for the GC? It was both,
it's
right?
Both, yeah. And just on the yellow and the GC, I mean, it would have been nice to see Pauline win the stage after that amazing ride she did, but also there's benefit to her not winning the stage. You know, Vos will take yellow into stage 2. She might hold it through tomorrow. She's not gonna have it all the way to the end of the race. But it does take pressure off Pauline. As we said, it's a late night already. Marianne Vos didn't rock up to the post-race press conference till after 9 o'clock. It's a long day, late night, earlier start tomorrow as well. So being able to shelter Pauline from that is a good thing. And we saw at the Visma bus, there's a lot of attention on Pauline, as you'd expect. French hopeful in a French race, and a lot of attention on her already. So if she can avoid having to do all of that, yellow jersey protocol for as long as possible, I think that'll be a good thing for her.
Yeah, but I did mention in the piece that I wrote after the race today that I do think Visma has the ability to hold it all 9 days if they wanted to. Tomorrow is a very, very tough day, so it'll be interesting to see if Vos can actually step up. But her DS did actually say that Marianne just keeps raising the bar. Like, even when she's on the limit, the bar keeps raising. So, or rising. It is late. Excuse my grammar and poor vocab choices. Usually I'm much better at this. But I think that is a possibility. And yeah, we could see a team of complete dominance. But yeah, it just depends if Vos wants that pressure all the way through.
Well, her press officer did say that she is here to stage hunt Vos, and I think we will see Vos feature elsewhere, and I wouldn't be surprised if she takes that green jersey in the end with the form that she's got coming into this race. But, I mean, it's Project Yellow. It's the yellow jersey. That's the big goal for that team. But, like I said, if it's like the Rabobank days, they could walk away with multiple jerseys. But let's talk a little bit about the other GC contenders, because I think that's really important today. We knew it was going to be a really important day for the GC. I think riders expected it to be more hectic than it was. It was just really fast. And if you weren't, like you said, Georgie, in those top 10 wheels, it was impossible to move up. So you were stuck where you were. And then it was like, it wasn't actually till they came through that first lap of the circuit that we saw some aggression starting to happen. And it was mostly coming from Picnic and Nell. Francesca Koch had a fantastic day, really throwing everything at it to try and get something up the road, but it was never going to go. But from my point of view, it just looked like some riders didn't quite have the pop they needed today and lost crucial seconds, almost minutes.
Yeah, today was a roller coaster. I think we just made that description as we were driving through the course. It was up and down, side to side. But the road and the road surface was actually quite nice. So it was if teams did want to block the road, they could, and we'll hear that soon. But I think a stage like this, it's a late start, it's a short stage, it's essentially a kermesse. You've got an early start tomorrow. How many riders are actually that concerned about today, given what is coming up? I think from a GC contender perspective, if we talk like Elisa Longoborghini, what is 58 seconds when you hit the Col de Madeleine?
Yeah, it's a good question. There's a lot of racing between now and then as well. But I think if you look through the stage results today, there's a lot of interesting time gaps here. Like, Pauline Van Provost's leading the kind of GC battle, quote unquote, at the moment, with Demi Vollering at 3 seconds behind, Van der Breggen as well, about 5 seconds behind, and then Royackers, and who else have we got further down as well? And there's bigger gaps further down. So I think if there was any doubt about Lotte Kopecky, for example, or how she's going, I think we can absolutely say she's not racing for GC at this tour now. She's over a minute down, I think, already. But yes, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, we could be talking about minutes on the Madeleine for sure. But I think there are riders that would much rather not have lost time today if they could have helped it.
Yeah, I mean, it's also a mental game. Like, what was this stage today? It was 1 hour and 53 minutes. But I think also it's a confidence thing as well. You want to front up to tomorrow's stage fresh and with motivation. And to take a bit of a knock today, I think there's a few knocks in terms of like how easily Pauline was able to step away from the peloton, how dominant Visma was, and how hard it was for riders to actually move up and move around the bunch. There's a lot of mental game to be playing in the Tour de France. It is as much a mental battle as it is a physical one.
Mm-hmm. And talking about GC contenders, I think we need to speak a little bit about Movistar's really rough day. We knew coming into the race after, the mixed zone yesterday at the sign-on that Marlen Reusser had been sick of the Giro, recovering, hoping to be good here to at least support the team and still pursue some GC ambitions. But with the food poisoning, you could clearly see she wasn't on it today already from the start. And then unfortunately for Movistar, Liana Lippert, who would have been, I think, a contender for today's stage had she had the legs, but they got caught out in that crash that Georgie mentioned on the first entry into the circuits, and that was just a disaster for them. Yeah.
Contrast that with Visma's day, how well that went for them, and then you look at Movistar where everything basically fell apart. I spoke to the Movistar DS, Jorge Sanz, today at the finish to get his perspective on basically what happened with Marlen Reusser was the main point, because we'd been talking in the lead up to today's stage about why is Marlen even starting today's stage? She obviously looks rubbish. She's not feeling great at all. Why is she starting the tour? And whose decision was that? Was it just the team pushing her into it? Was it her decision? And he was saying that it was a full team decision, that they all decided together that they would do it, and that pushing her to do that would be stupid, and that she decided she wanted to have a go and see how she went, with the goal of hopefully improving over a few days and then maybe even still going for GC. But as you said, everything fell apart for them today. Jorge had this great quote. He said, we came in with 2 goals today, and in a moment both of them went to shit, basically, where Marlon was dropped when the pace went up, and then she managed to catch back on. But just at that moment when she caught back on was when Lippert crashed on that right-hand bend. And then Roosa stopped to help Lippert out. Excuse me. And then basically Movistar sent the whole team back to help Lippert try and chase back on. She couldn't get back on. And then Roosa was left riding by herself to the finish, and then she pulled out. So, and George, I think she rode past you when you were walking. She seemed pretty dejected, you said.
Yeah, I tried to do my subtle, sympathetic smile as she rode past me, and got peanuts. She looked shattered. She's been dealing with illness as well, so I think this was just the final nail in the coffin.
Yeah, we've talked about this already, but it's been such a rough few weeks for her after what happened at the Giro, leading the race into the Queen stage, and then, in her own words, spending the entire night in the bathroom. Coming into the Queen stage is not the ideal preparation, and then 2 weeks later getting sick on the eve of the Tour de France. Just feel for her, and it's been a really rough time for her, and hopefully she can bounce back and focus on whatever comes next for her.
Yeah, it's just now the question is, what does Movistar do from here?
Well, let's hear from Jelena Erić, the teammate of Marlon Roosa, on that.
So today's stage was quite a fast start, and I would say pretty hectic from the beginning to the finish. And there was a couple of crashes that we had Odd involved, and then Liane in the final lap. So we needed to solve the situation. So we had to wait and try to come back, but it was quite complicated because Liane lost quite a lot of time in that crash, and we couldn't make it. But many more days to come, so we will keep fighting.
All right, so tomorrow we've got stage 2. It is a really hard up and down kind of stage. It will be starting at around midday, finishing at about 3 p.m. It is 110.4 kilometers with a tasty 2,000 meters of climbing, and it is extremely taxing. When I was looking at the profile of Vellevue early today, I saw a lot of deep red and the pinches in the climbs, so there's a lot of opportunities for launch pads for attacks. Like I said we said earlier, we're not sure if Visma are keen in keeping yellow, so maybe they let something go, or they all the GC contenders will have to remain around each other, of course, but I'm not actually quite sure how this will play out, because today was not how I thought it would play out either. So I'm curious to see what dynamic this stage will bring. We've got 3 category 4 climbs, 1 category 3. We've got a sprint at 45 Ks, and it finishes on a nice uphill kicker, so the sprinters aren't getting too many chances at a flat run into the finish.
I think to Loretta's point, when we walked past her on the way back to the buses, she said, well, I got my openers done today. So I was saying how some riders, maybe with these really hard short stages at the start of a tour like this, like you can come in, and maybe Georgie, you can speak a little bit to this, that the first stage can be really rough for a lot of reasons, but how you can ride into it, and maybe we'll be seeing riders that maybe didn't feature so well today actually feature tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the nature of a tour, right? It's like some days you're really shit, some days you're really good, and some days you're just like a bit meh. But I don't think it's rare that you get 2 days of the same. What does make the difference is the team that you have around you, particularly if you're a leader. So if the consistent baseline of the team is there, like some riders will be up, some riders will be down, but most of all, everyone's on that seesaw and balances each other out, then that you generally can get through. But I think today, riders will just be, like I said, getting used to the dynamic of the peloton. Mentally, they've got to get their eye in as well. So I actually think that was a big part for me in racing, and a lot of my teammates, is actually getting your eye into being in the peloton again. So like, how do the puzzle pieces move? How does the washing machine work? All right. The dynamics of like trying to move to the front again. Oh, yep. Someone's cutting me off, but that's okay. I just got to move around another way. I think today was a lot about calibration for a lot of riders.
I think the finish tomorrow is quite a bit easier than today. It is uphill, but it's not as steep and it's not as long. And I think that means that we're more likely to see the sprintier riders up there. And just looking at the results here, Loren Rowney only 16 seconds back today. She climbed pretty well. Didn't win the stage, obviously, but that's a pretty decent result on a climb that had some pretty nasty pinches in it. So I wouldn't be shocked to see Weebus up there tomorrow, Balsamo, riders like that. I think Voss also will be a real factor. I think there's a very good chance she wins again tomorrow. But I think that finish is a bit easier. But as you say, Georgie, the run-in tomorrow, it's a long, hard day.
Yeah, exactly. And tonight was a late night. Like usually when you've got a late night race, you have a bit of a later start the next day, but the riders don't get that much luck today. Yeah, we saw Mariana. We had a bit of a chat with her as she was heading off out after the press conference. And yeah, if you're a GC rider, you got a whole heap of responsibility. So I hope she can get a good rest because I would love to see her win tomorrow. But depends what their goal is.
Should we do picks then? Let's do heart and head.
Heart and head. All right, Matt, you go first.
Heart pick is Liana Lippert to bounce back after yesterday. I think that'd be cool. She won on a similar finish. Was it 2022, 2023? I can't remember which edition she won her first stage here. Nice uphill drag to the line. Really suits her well. So hopefully she's okay after the crash today. Head pick, I think probably Weebus wins tomorrow, but that's my thinking. For anyone that hasn't joined up already to the Escape Collective Fantasy Competition, you should absolutely do that. I picked Kopecky in the end for today, and yeah, that was disappointing.
It's all right. Don't be too hard on yourself, Matt. My heart pick is Franzi Koch of Team Picnic Postonel. Yeah, I would love to see her get a W, particularly in a national champion jersey. She is someone who, I spoke to her after the stage today. Just she's here to have a crack, and so I'd like to see that effort rewarded. She races like that. She's authentic the way she races. She races the same way all the time. Head pick Weebus.
Yeah, guys, I think I'm going to have to join you with a head pick for Weavers and the heart pick Voss because I'd like to see her do the double. But yeah, based off what we know of the stage and actually speaking to the DSs today, tomorrow is going to be really hard, but I think Weavers is in great form. Voss is clearly in great form. But with a slightly easier finish, I think that Weavers with a Kopecky lead out, this will be the question mark, actually.
Yep.
If she doesn't have the Kopecky lead out and Voss has Visma and what Visma did today, can they challenge? Will we finally see a challenge?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'd like to throw another name in the mix too. Puck Peterson. We talked about it just before. This is a sort of finish that should suit her well as well. And we were talking that before that today Peterson continued what is a pretty amazing streak so far this season. She's done 12 race days and she hasn't finished outside the top 10 at any point in 12 race days. So for those of you that love your stats, you might enjoy that one. So we're keeping an eye on that one throughout the tour.
Oh, he's a numbers man, isn't he? We talk about teamwork with Visma and how much they dominated today's stage, but one team that probably wasn't as well oiled as we thought they would be, and does have a rider that could be on for tomorrow is FDJ-Suez. So we have an audio diary here from Ali Wollaston.
Hey. Well, it's 20 past 10 right now. And we've finally finished massage. So yeah, it was a very late evening of racing. We started the morning with an easy coffee ride. I actually didn't ride. I couldn't be bothered. But I met the girls for a coffee this morning and we had lunch. I had 2 naps before the race started today. So yeah, it was a very, very chilled start at the hotel this morning. We had a lot of time in our hands as it was a really late start. We started at 5:30 p.m. But yeah, it was amazing day to start, to see all the crowds. And yeah, we have a few local riders. Our local rider, Marie Lynette, had a huge fan base, and obviously having a team with Demi Bollerin, yeah, we have a big following in the team. So yeah, a lot of fans out of the front of the bus, which was, something I've never experienced before. But yeah, a very amazing thing to be a part of. But yeah, I mean, the race itself personally was not the race I had hoped for. I struggled a lot with positioning today. Yeah, it was full on from the start and we knew it was going to be like that. But yeah, still nothing really prepares you for that after not racing for a while. So yeah, I'm quite disappointed. I crashed, was stuck in a crash. I'm lucky I'm okay, but just before the first climb of the local lap. So yeah, I never really came back after that, which is really disappointing. I wish I could have helped the team more. But yeah, lucky we had a superstar team to try and finish it off today. And yeah, we didn't lose a significant amount of time in the GC, and yeah, that's our main goal. So we're all happy, we're healthy, and we're ready to tackle the next few days. Thank you. Bye bye.
Yeah, I was chatting with Stefan Delcourt at the finish, around the finish, before it finished today. And he said for him, the biggest goal was just to get everyone through safely. So I think that goal was achieved. Demi lost 3 seconds. I don't think we need to look into that too much. She was just a little bit outpositioned there at the end. But yeah, I think that's the key for her the next days, is not losing any more time and just staying where she needs to be and having the support around her.
They did have one small success today, though, FDJ. They're now in the QOM jersey with Elise Shabby. How do you guys feel about that?
You just leave it for just why? It was such a feel-good story to have. Volker Wessels, they are such a dynamic, fun team to watch racing, and yeah, they always feature in the early fight for the alternate jerseys to the GC. I just think it was a bit cruel, eh? Like, why did she need to do it?
Unnecessary. All right, we're going to throw to one more rider diary before we sign off for the evening. So let's hear from EF Education-Oatly rider Mags Vallieres.
Hi, my name is Magdalene Vallermir. I'm a rider for EF Education-Oatly. Today was the first stage of the Tour de France Femmes, and we had really good vibes going into today. We've just come down from altitude with the team, the 7 girls. We were in Andorra, and then we were really ready to get the tour started. We've been waiting for this moment for a while. The crowds were really good, and also we have big ambition for the GC. So and with Cédrine, and then it was really exciting because it's on her home ground. So there was a lot of people cheering for us. So then, yeah, it made it really exciting. Our goal was to protect her all day and make sure we gain our didn't lose time on the GC. So yeah, that's what we did, and I think we're quite happy with the day. And now, since it was a late start, we go to bed and try to rest for tomorrow, which is a earlier day. And talk to you on another stage.
Well, I think that's a wrap for tonight, guys. Thanks to everyone for joining the Stage 1 podcast of the Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift and joining us for dinner. I still got half a burger to eat, and we're gonna show up tomorrow again, early start, and bring you all the best content from the race. So for the subscribers, you're gonna get some more content in our After Dark special. And if you're not a subscriber, you want to sign up for that, because these are some of the hot takes that, we don't share on socials. It's all the stuff now that we're going to talk over dessert here.
And you know what? And maybe if you subscribe, we can elevate to Nando's next time.
Man, does Nando's even exist? That's the mission of this tour.